How did you come to join Enfield Football Club?
Received a telegram from Tommy Lawrence asking me if he would like to meet him at Enfield in a few days' time. I can't remember exactly the times. So it was through a meeting with Tom. I came and met him, and it was a good side, and I joined then.
You played against Enfield previously for Leytonstone. What was your impression of Enfield as a club before you joined?
I was quite young. I wasn't really very, I don't think well known. Enfield was in the Athenian League, and I had only ever played in the Isthmian League for Leytonstone, who I joined from my works team. When I was working at Fords, and I was playing for Fords United, the youth team, and then got into the first team a few games, and then joined Leytonstone because the manager, or a manager at Fords, went to Leytonstone and took me with him.
Mickey, when did you join Enfield?
63, 64.
How come you joined Enfield?
Well, I'd been at Hertford in the reserves there, and then I sort of left through sort of not getting games, I suppose, really. And then I went to Finchley, and I played one game there and we won quite easily, and then I never got any more phone calls either, so I couldn't have been that good anyway. But then somebody asked me about coming over to Enfield, about training, just go over training and see how it went. And I went, and it worked out okay, really. Well, good for me.
Were you a local lad?
Yes, Edmonton.
So playing for Enfield was a natural.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, it was always known as a good club anyway. So I was quite flattered, really, to be asked to.
Roger, did it bother you not getting paid to play football?
Well, I had the opportunity to turn professional with Watford, and would have done had they given me a decent amount of money, which they refused to do or wasn't prepared to do. They didn't perhaps think I was quite good enough, but they wanted me to stay and play in the reserves like I'd done for a couple of years. And then they sacked the manager in the summer, and I did not hear any more from Watford Football Club.
Did you have any other chances to turn professional as that?
No, that's it. That was it.
Mick, what did you do as a job outside of football?
I was on BT for a long time, BT engineer. I was just trying to think if I was there then or I went after. I might have been a driver.
Was there any problem getting time off work to play football and to do the training?
No, I made sure there wasn't. You sort of time your life around football, don't you, really?
How important was football to you?
Oh, very. Yeah.
Roger, first year you came to Enfield, Enfield played in the Amateur Cup final. What do you remember of the game?
I remember scoring. The goal, first goal of the game, and put us one up. Then I remember that, of course, Malcolm Mitchell cracked an arm or broke an arm, something like that, and those days no substitutes, so we were down to virtually 10 men. Malcolm Mitchell played on the wing, I believe, running up and down of it, and Roy Thomas went in goal. As he always used to joke afterwards, it took him 20 years to get to the Amateur Cup and he never got over the goal line. That's all I can really remember about it. It's we're talking many years ago, aren't we?
If Malcolm hadn't been injured, do you think we would have won the cup final?
Yes, I believe we would have won the cup final. I thought we were a better team than Crooktown, but that's life, I suppose.
Mickey, most of your time in the 60s was spent in the reserves. Did it bother you being a reserve team player at Enfield?
No, I was quite content really. I suppose not really ambitious, but I was quite content to be playing what I thought was a good club and just playing really, just getting the game. I'd sooner play than watch anyway.
Footballing context, how big a club were Enfield in the 1960s, in the amateur game?
I think probably they were probably the best, weren't they, Rog?
I would think probably Wimbledon and company
Wickham,
would be a
Wickham
bit.
maybe.
Would be a bit. Well, I don't know about Wickham, but Wimbledon was certainly in my previous 3 years at Leytonstone. They was always winning the Isthmian League thereabouts. So I think they were probably one of the best. Wealdstone, perhaps.
If you were comparing them to, say, the Premier League now, what sort of team would you equate them to?
Who, Enfield?
Yeah, in their circle.
I would think probably they would be like Arsenal in today's terms, a third or fourth from the top.
Depends what side you support, doesn't it?
Yeah, I'm a Tottenham
Could be
supporter.
Tottenham.
I'm a Tottenham supporter, but I mean I think Arsenal is a little bit better than Tottenham at the moment, I think.
Yeah.
And so
Well, they have been over the last few years, haven't
Yeah.
they?
So 1964 we lost at Wembley. 1967 got back to Wembley again.
Yeah.
Played in the Amateur Cup final. 75,000 people there.
Yeah.
What do you remember of that?
I remember the crowd being much more than what it had been in '64.
The drama was in the last minute, wasn't it?
Oh right, okay, yeah, we went right straight from the other end. Oh, we of course, okay. So Skiln was there, wasn't we? Yeah, that's right. Worcester saved the penalty, and we went straight at the other end and nearly scored, I believe. Not me, but Laurie Churchill, I think. Laurie was playing, wasn't he? Yeah. And then of course we won the replay, which is.
And that was up at Main Road, Manchester.
Main Road, Manchester. Yeah, that was a very obviously exciting time. Very good crowd. I remember we went on they used to have trains those days. All the supporters and the team and all that all went up on a train. To remember when we had some of those amateur cup games, which obviously was very exciting with reasonable crowds.
Did you mix very much socially with the fans?
Not a lot. No, I would think. Don't say not a lot. Probably a group of them who would be, because obviously you only perhaps have a couple of drinks after the games, and you would get the same faces in there all the time, who knew you and spoke to you. But not a lot of contact. No.
For the big matches, for the long distance trips you travel.
Yeah, I can't really remember being in individual carriages. To be honest with you, I can't quite remember much about those sort of trains. I know that, as I say, you used to go. Was it Enfield Chase? I think they used to go from the train, and we would meet on a Saturday morning, and it'd be a big, quite a lot of people, and off you'd go, and that made a good atmosphere, obviously.
Did they commission the train?
Pardon?
Did they commission the train?
They commissioned the train, yeah. I'm sure that's what. It was one train for the supporters and players and everything going up to wherever we went. And I think we had quite a few away ties, shall we say, like in those days, semi-final Sunderland and this and that and others. But wish we could go back. Wish we could turn the clock back and start again.
Mickey, if you weren't playing in a reserve team game on a particular day, did you go and watch the first team play?
Yeah, I would say so, yes.
So were you a fan of the club as well?
Yeah, I suppose I was really, yeah. Well, it was my local side anyway, so, and they were the best around in the non-league. So.
Who were the best players at the club when you were watching or when you were around?
Oh, Roger was. Got to say that, haven't I?
Gosh, you have me.
How would you describe Roger's style?
clinical. Didn't give the ball away a lot. Could look after himself. Clinical, yeah. He was.
And you scored over 50 penalties for the club. Do you have a specific technique?
Just to try and put the ball in the back of the net, I think that was a technique. No, I had a fairly good record, I think. I don't know how many I missed over the years, probably 3 out of. I wouldn't have said how many I'd scored. I wouldn't have a clue of remembering that. And I don't even know how many games I played. I think I'm probably one of the top players for the amount of games. I don't know if anyone played more than me.
I think when you left, you were the record appearance at that time.
Yeah, because I was here for I think something like 6 years, and then of course we went up to Slough for a couple of 2.5 years. I went up there, came back, and then only had a few months. Went to Ilford, and then came back from Ilford to Enfield when Freddie Callahan was a manager. So on and off, I've probably spent about 10 seasons at Enfield.
What was it like playing the big northern teams in the Amateur Cup?
Well, they obviously were seemed to have more exposure, I suppose. Perhaps teams like Crooktown and etc. And I think it was like Manchester United playing Tottenham in a much lower level, obviously. You know, the well-known teams up there and the well-known names team here going to play and see who's the best team. And they were enjoyable, say, because it was a complete day out on the train, and the supporters up there, and we were well supported. I mean, I think the average gate at Enfield when I first joined, 64, was about 1,200 people. So we were well supported.
And when you played the big local games against Barnet and Hendon, the crowd would be considerably bigger.
Well, yeah, but then you see, Barnet I'd never played against because, as I said, we weren't in the team I played for, Leytonstone, played in the Isthmian League. Barnet and Enfield had been ding-dong in the Athenian League for many years, and I hadn't ever played against Barnet until I joined Enfield, and then and that was the first season that Enfield started in the Isthmian League. They was invited in with, I'm not sure, 3 clubs, I think, Hendon, Enfield, and don't know, can't remember. Might be Willstone. No, Kingstone was always there. Who was the other one?
Hitchin.
Hitchin? No, I think not that time. They came in after. I think they came in after Wimbledon went to because they turned pro later on, didn't they? And a couple of others. But I remember playing at Barnet. That was a good. See, Barnet was always well supported. And players seem to have flitted from Barnet to Enfield over the years. Playing for Enfield 1 year, and then 2 or 3 years later they were at Barnet. I think Alf Darcy came from Barnet, and his brother, who unfortunately I'd never met and who had died before I got to know him.
Yeah. Who was the best player you played with at Enfield?
Tommy Lawrence.
And what was his special attributes?
He was extremely strong. He was extremely quick. Never very, very good at heading thing. I mean, I think his goal scoring record of today is unbeatable by anybody I know. He was an excellent player, and as a person as well. I've got much time for Tom.
Mickey, both of you left the football club when you both came back in the 70s. You played more regularly when you came back. What do you remember of coming back to Enfield Football Club?
Again, it was a big step up for me, really, and I enjoyed it. Yeah, it was enjoyable to play with a lot of good players.
Was the club very different when you came back?
Not really, no. It was still a big club, really. You know, there was always a big club when I was first here, and it just continued that way, really. One of the better sides in the non-league. So,
Roger, did you find the club any different when you came back?
Well, obviously, the first time I came back was from Slough, having left after 6 years, and I was back with the same people, really. Tommy Lawrence, Alf Darcy, the Wooston home. So it was much the side, a similar side. So certainly not different. And Tom obviously was the manager and ran it the same way as he'd run it at Slough. But of course I then left and went to Ilford and came back after another Wembley visit with Ilford and joined Fred Callahan, and we had, I think, 18 months or 2 years. And then I think Ted Hardy came in and he felt, I think, that I was over the hill, and so moved me on to where? Hayes, I think it was. I went to Hayes for a few months.
How old were you when you stopped playing football?
39.
Do you think you stopped too soon?
Well, if I could go back again, because when I left, who I was at Walton and Hersham for a few months, and then I left on the Christmas, and I was invited to rejoin Leytonstone by a fellow called John Still, and I just said to him, well, I've just become a cab driver, I've passed my knowledge, I think I've got to pack up sooner or later, so I'll call it a day now. But if I could go back again, I would certainly play.